I just want to say before this video begins, I am not a professional gecko keeper, nor do I claim to be, although I do have more experience than the average person, of course.
Hello guys, so in today's video I'm going to be rating enclosures on Reddit on r/geckos. I'll leave a link to the subreddit in the description below if you want to go here, and I'm just going to be scrolling through the new posts with enclosure somewhere in the title, and rating the ones that actually have a proper enclosure. So we're going to go ahead and start out with this guy right here, baby enclosure. So I'm assuming this is for a baby crested gecko, judging by the way it's set up, because it's vertical, not horizontal, and there's no heating on this. So if this was for, say, like a leopard gecko or something, this would be very inappropriate. Although for like a baby cresty or maybe gargoyle gecko, which I can't actually see in here, this looks fantastic. So I gotta say it's probably I think a 7 out of 10. It could use a bit more foliage, but for the most part, it's a really good enclosure. So solid 7 out of 10. I'm assuming these are leopard gecko enclosures, and they're kind of obstructed by the dog. Although there's a heat lamp on that one. There's UVB shared between the two, I'm assuming, and then another heat lamp over there. So overall, this looks like very good enclosures. They appear to be 20 longs, I'm assuming, which is bare minimum for leopard geckos. And I wonder, oh yeah, you can actually see one in this image down there. And they seem to have plenty of foliage. They have their basking spot, obviously. I don't see a thermostat, but I am going to assume there is one in there. And or they've done like just temporary testing with it and they know everything's good. I'm going to say solid 6.5, because I think the bare minimum is not that good, but 6.5. This is a pretty good enclosure. Okay, so here's another enclosure. This is for a baby gecko. I'm not sure what gecko this is, though. This could be a crested gecko, judging by all the decorations, but at the same time, this could also be a leopard gecko. I'm gonna assume it's a cresty because of this like coconut hide right here and all of these plants that are vertical, because that just wouldn't be in there, I don't think, if there was a leopard gecko. They have UVB, they have a heat. You don't really need heat when it comes to cresties. It can actually be bad for them if they get too hot. So, I don't know. I think I'm gonna say probably a 4.5. I think there's a little bit too much going on in the bottom, considering it's probably a crested gecko. I don't see thermostats or anything on this, and you just have a heat bulb, and just have a heat bulb sitting on top there with like nothing protecting him from touching this and hurting himself, or monitoring how hot this is getting. I don't even see ventilation holes to where air could get out, only a mesh on the top. So yeah, I'm gonna say this is actually a 4, probably, maybe even a 3. This is pretty bad setup. But still, it looks like, a little guy should probably survive if he doesn't get cooked on accident. Okay, here's another 2 for 1. So we have two beautiful enclosures. I'm going to assume, yeah, 18 by 24. Does it say... No, it doesn't say what kind of geckos. Okay, crested geckos enclosure, yeah. As I presumed, because they are tall. So it looks like they have UVB on both, no heating, which is fine, because they are crested geckos. And I don't see thermostat. They do have a regulator, or a whatever it's called, up there. So these heat sources, the lights are monitored, so they're perfectly safe for these guys. They have plenty of foliage to hide in up high. They don't really have any hides up there, but it looks pretty good, I think. Yeah, I would say these are some pretty good sets. A little funky because there's just not really much up at the top where they would hang out, but pretty good enclosures. So this one right here, I'm gonna say it is a 5 out of 10 because there just needs to be more stuff near the top, and for this one there's a little bit more stuff up here near the top. So I'm gonna say this one is 1 higher and this is a 6, as they do, and they do appear to have everything appropriate. Maybe missing, I can't tell if this is heating. Judging by this, which is regulating it, I'm gonna assume These are heating, not UVB, so also I'm going to knock a point off for not having UVB on either one. Although I could be wrong, and this could be hooked up to heat pads on the back of the tank. You know what, I'm going to assume the best. I'm going to assume they have UVB and heating, so I'm going to stick with my 5 and 4. Yeah. I don't even think I need to do anything. Okay, let's read the title. Hello, I'm a teacher at a preschool and noticed that one of the other classrooms in the center has a leopard gecko. I am super uneducated about geckos, but I feel like its enclosure isn't the best. Really, you do. This isn't the best enclosure, imagine that. I'm looking for recommendations on ways I can improve the tank. Maybe more places to hide or substrate, I'm really not sure. I unfortunately don't have too much money to spare, but I'll do what I can. Thank you so much. Okay, so judging by that, they're a teacher in our classroom. This teacher has a leopard gecko. They're neglecting the leopard gecko, which I'm assuming is there. So first off, completely unregulated heat. It's a 10-gallon. There's no ventilation on the side, just the top, which I guess is okay since it's the entire top. But it's such a small space, the entire thing is getting cooked like he's inside an oven. It only has one hide as carpet, which is, if you know anything about geckos or any reptile, you know this is terrible. They'll get their claws stuck in it, they'll get their jaws stuck in it. It's terrible. They have this joint like thermometer and whatever it is. There's water at the very least, which actually is water in it. It's relatively clean. I can see some poop over here, but like compared to what I've seen, it's relatively clean. But that's like the only points I can give. It's clean, there's water, and there's heat, which is actually probably a negative because it's probably cooking him alive. There's no UVB either. I gotta say this is a solid, like, 1. No, 1.5, because I feel like it can get worse than this, but like this is the bottom of the barrel. This is a solid 1.5 right here. This is terrible. Poor guy. Here is a day gecko's enclosure. It's a 20-gallon, like, I'm pretty sure it's one of the 20-gallon ones with like a bowed front. Oh look, you can see a little guy up there. Because of the way this angle looks. It could just be a wide lens, maybe. And look, there he is over there. 20 gallons is kind of on the smaller side. You should probably have at least 30. I can't tell what size this is, though. They don't say what size it is, so I'm gonna assume this is 20. So bare minimum for these guys should be at least 18 by 24, which is 30, so this is a little small for them. You do, however, have heating and UVB, so that's really good. I can't tell if that's unregulated, and it's not just a heat emitter. With these guys, because of the way, because of where they come from, you need to have constant heat. You can't have a light like this where you just leave it on during the day and you turn it off at night. These guys need constant heating throughout the day and the night because they like it so warm.
So I just figured I would explain this a little better, but basically what I'm saying is they need heating 24/7, and as you can see I have my UVB, I have my heat, and then I have another light bar for this giant Madagascar day gecko, which is right there. However, his heating, as you can see, it's a night bulb. I didn't get just a ceramic heat emitter, although you can do that, where it just emits heat and there's no light. However, this emits very little light, and as you can see, you can't even really see it, so it's purely meant just for emitting heat, not actually for lighting the tank. And this is left on 24/7 because he requires the heating 24/7. And in case you're wondering why you can't just use a normal bulb, it's because it'll get them confused about when they're supposed to be awake and asleep. Because if the sun was out every single day and all night, you would get confused about what time it is too if you didn't have a clock like these guys.
So I'm gonna assume, because this is a daylight, they're not keeping it on at night, and so this guy is freezing at nighttime, which is probably hurting him, negatively affecting him, which is not good. But besides that, I can't really see any other issues. You know, you got plenty of places to climb. You got this ledge, some wood, random fake plants. You got a piece of bamboo. I think this is cork bark tube, so he can probably hide in there too. Background and the sides are covered up, so I'm gonna say this is a solid, probably 4.5 out of 10. Yeah, I think 4.5, because there's a pretty good tank, but there's a lot to be improved here. But overall, it's a pretty good tank. No major issues, so 4.5. Okay, so here is a crested gecko's enclosure, and you can read it up there. This is another bow-fronted tank. As you can see, this one is very obvious. It's not just the angle. But you can see that there is this bow up here. So this is 20 gallons. I can guarantee it. I know exactly what tank this is, especially with the background. I've seen it all too many times. There's the baby crested gecko. I can't see the top, so I don't know if they have UVB or heating. Judging by the coloring of this light, I am going to assume that is UVB. Heating, you don't really need for crested geckos, like I've already said, so that's perfectly fine. And, I mean, you've got some foliage up near the top, but I think overall this tank is just way too small for crested geckos, especially once they get fully grown. And with that background in it, you're taking away a lot of space for the crested gecko. So I'm going to say, as an overall, this is probably a solid 4. I don't even, this doesn't quite get to 4.5 like the Airwind did. I think it's a 4, because there's just not enough space. And you got all the major things done. You got UVB, you got food and everything, obviously. You got places to hide. You just get rid of the background and, you know, give him more space. This tank is not appropriate for him for his entire life. And as you can see, this says, is it good for a cresty? So, you know, I'm assuming that means for its entire life. But anyways, 4. Ooh, okay, so here is a good one, I'm pretty sure. So this looks to be one of those like 40-gallon acrylic enclosures or whatever. Oh, nice. They actually labeled everything. That's sweet. Okay, so you have a warm hide, you have a cool hide. Yeah, this person knows exactly what they're doing. They probably know more about leopard geckos than I do. This is a solid. I think there could be I think there could be a little bit more foliage as far as like plants and sticks go. So there could be some more stuff out here. And then maybe have, like, you know, this area over here be open space, and then have this be more, like, crowded with some bigger plants. But as an overall, this is a solid 6.5. Almost 7. If there was just a little bit more plants in here, like anything over here, like, in this area, I would give it a 7. But I can't. So I'm going to say it's a 6.5. Yeah, 6.5. And also, it appears to be a 40 ounce. This is more than appropriate for one female leopard gecko. So this is a giant Madagascar day gecko. Nice shot of his balls. Even though this has nothing to do with those. So this appears to be a 20-gallon enclosure again. Actually, I'm not really sure what this is. Is this a... this looks like it was bought online and assembled, judging by this. And actually, this could be a 40. Because if you look right there, there he is. I wonder. Okay, it doesn't say the age of the gecko. So I have no clue how large this guy is currently. You know, I can tell how large it is. And compared to an adult, this is definitely a 40-gallon. But I can't tell if this, you know, how old he is. I'm going to assume it's a 40. It looks to be almost 40 gallons. Maybe 30, 20, something like that. Probably 40. First off, they have heating, so that's perfectly fine. I don't know if they have nighttime heating, though, so that is concerning. They definitely have UVB. You can tell by that shade right there. Yeah. So they have UVB day heating. So they're missing night heating. They have their thermometer and stuff. They even have a fogger, which is pretty cool. They have plenty of places to climb. They're missing, they actually do have a hide in there. Definitely could use a lot of foliage, because this is just not enough foliage. So I'm gonna say this is a solid 5 out of 10, just for how large it is. However, it's missing a lot of foliage, obviously, and it's missing the nighttime heating. I don't know why everyone forgets about this, but, like, they need nighttime heating. You can't just have a normal heat bulb on there, you know, and turn it off and let them freeze at night. They need the nighttime heating, because they are just extremely hot animals. But overall, solid 5 out of 10. It looks pretty cool. Okay, so this is sideways. I'm gonna turn this sideways for y'all so that way y'all can see it, but just know I'm looking at this image sideways. So this is a leopard gecko's enclosure, definitely, because it is horizontal, not vertical. There appears to be no specific hide for a cool hide and a hot hide. Let me read this real quick. This is an enclosure I have for her. There's a heating mat under the sand, and the bar light is on a rotating 12-hour cycle. I am currently feeding her mealworms and crickets. She is 2 years old. Okay, so heat mat under the tank isn't the best thing because if it's unregulated, it can get too hot and burn the animal. And also, if you want to have like a specific hide for heat, and then you want to have a specific hide for like wetness and coldness, you know, you want to have that stuff. I don't know a whole lot about leopard geckos, but I know a decent bit. I've done my research into them before, so I know a little bit. And this is lacking all of that. I'm assuming the heating pad is just over in like a corner somewhere in the back. So it's not appropriately heated. I can't tell if this is UVB, and judging by this, it doesn't say that's a UVB. So you don't have UVB. You have poor heating, although it is still there, so she won't freeze to death. You don't have a wet hide, so she's probably gonna have problems with shedding. And you don't have a lot of like proper foliage, like leaves and stuff, although you do have a bunch of rocks and branches and crap in here. I'm gonna say it's a solid like 3 out of 10, I'd say, because actually two and a half, I think. I'm pretty sure this is also a 20 gallon, so it's it's inappropriately small. But overall, 2 out of 10, you know, it will survive in this, sadly, although it is poor conditions. Here is a beautiful tank. Enclosure for my dwarf gecko. This is a dwarf gecko, so I'm going to assume this is, you know, obviously not a 18 by 18 by 24, and you don't need it for a dwarf. So this is probably a 12 by 12 by 18, judging by the height of it. So, I mean, this looks pretty appropriate for a dwarf gecko. You've got obviously the food, you've got lots of foliage, not near the top though, which you kind of need. You have some bamboo, you've got some bamboo hides. Overall, I mean, and also you've got UVB. I can't tell if there's nighttime heating. I'm gonna assume there is, judging by the fact they can't. I want to say that's a heating light because a UVB would be more blue. So, judging by what I can see, there's no UVB on this tank, there's no nighttime heating, and for a dwarf gecko, I'm pretty sure you would still need nighttime heating. So, beautiful tank, nicely set up. You're missing the foliage in the top, you don't have proper UVB or heating. You do have a mist system, though. I'm gonna say this is a solid 5.5 out of 10, so 5.5. That's my rating, I think. You need to fix the UVB, the heating, you need nighttime heating, and then you need to add some more foliage in the top, but besides that, this is a beautiful enclosure for a dwarf day gecko. Jesus, look at this. Now, this is a beautiful tank. This is for a Leachianus gecko, which if you don't know is, I'm pretty sure, the largest gecko species in the world. This appears to be a very large tank. Probably 2 foot by 1 foot, or maybe 2 foot by 2 foot by 4 or 3 foot. Judging by how tall this is compared to the camera, the fact it's sitting on the floor, and you know how wide it looks, this is a beautiful tank. Stunning. This is a 10 out of 10. There's obviously UVB. You can see UVB up there. I don't know if they need heating or not. I'm not a professional when it comes to Leachianus. I haven't even done research into them. So, from what I know and how this looks, I think this is going to have to be a 9 out of 10. This is a 9 out of 10. This is, actually, no, this is a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 enclosure right here. It's absolutely beautiful. Okay, here's going to be the last enclosure of the day, and it's a relatively poor one. So this is for a crested gecko, as you can read in the title. And, yeah, it looks bad. I'm not even gonna lie. There is heating on there, or that might just be lighting, honestly, because once again, crested geckos don't really need heating so much as they need UVB and stuff like that. So I'm going to assume this isn't even heating, because why would they just get heating and not UVB? So it's a poor tank. They're missing heating and UVB. The plants look dumb, and they're not actually doing what they need to do. That's not enough plants to provide foliage, besides maybe like right there in that area, and right here, and maybe right there, but that's not a lot. This looks to be a 20-gallon tank. It's not really vertical, it's more horizontal. The background is just kind of weird. There's pockets, but nowhere to really actually go into and hide. There's a few branches for climbing on, and like some wood built into background, I think that is. Yeah, I really, this is terrible. I think this is going to be a 1 out of 10. This has got to be a 1 out of 10. This is so bad. For a crested gecko, I mean, this tank literally has nothing a crested gecko needs besides this right here he can hide behind, and this and this. That's it. So I'm saying this is a 1 out of 10. And actually, I lied about this being the last one. This is too bad. We can't end it like this. We're going to one more. And here we go. We're ending it on a beautiful, beautiful tank. So this is for a African fat-tailed gecko, which is basically just a glorified, smaller version of a leopard gecko. Nothing too special. I'm assuming the gecko's in this picture, but I can't see it at all. So they obviously have, the thermostat and the humidity thing, so that's great. They have heating right there. Oh, they have multiple of them too, that's nice. So they're measuring both the cool side and the hot side of the tank. Heating, UVB, I'm assuming this is a 20-gallon low, by the way. And they have water, they have I'm assuming, wet hide, or a moist hide, and probably another dry hide there, and another hide there. Got some open space over here for crawling around. They've got plenty of foliage for it to hide behind. This, I think, is gonna be, yeah, there it is, adorable. See, but basically just a glorified, it's a leopard gecko, guys. Come on, let's not gaslight ourselves. It's a leopard gecko. But anyways, here's another angle. Yeah, you can see the hide back there. Here's the air hide. Here's the last hide, which is cork bark compared to the other two, which are stone. This one right here is probably the wet hide because it has the removable top. This is probably just a dry piece of wood that has nothing special with it. And then this one is probably a dry hide or something like that. Beautiful tank. They have, I think those are live plants along with the fake ones, which are like these guys right here, and I believe those too. This tank is a solid 20 ounces is also appropriate for these guys. I don't think it's too small for them. What should it be? I think a solid, I gotta say 9. It's a 9. It's a 9. There's nothing missing in this tank. I don't want to give it a 10 because it's not like absolutely beautiful, but this is a beautiful tank, so it's a 9.
I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you would like to submit a picture of your own tank with any animal in it, go ahead and send it to my Instagram, and I will rate it in the next video. Anyways, go check out my TikTok and Instagram for high-quality footage and photos. See ya!
Anyway, it's time I signed off. Well, this has been, and we hope you all enjoyed it. And as they say in the line of TV land, good night, folks.